Hey, what's up, people? What's going on? Welcome to the Black
What up?
Quarterback Forum. This is one of our first videos. It's preseason, so we just moving along, just like the NFL, doing our videos. So it's my man Shmee. Me and him gonna get at
What
it. We're
up,
gonna
Eddie?
go over some things. It's kind of introductory video. So Black Quarterback Forum. Obviously, we're gonna talk about all the black quarterbacks. And right now it's preseason, and some of these players ain't gonna be playing. But we're gonna cover the stats, and then we're gonna talk about some other things that we're doing at the website. Black quarterbacks in effect currently at .godaddysites.com. That's going to drop off start of the season. This is going to be blackqbsineffect.com. But it is what it is for right now. But anyway, so we're just going to cover whoever played, and then, like I said, some extra things we're going to talk about. So I'll be covering the NFC primarily for the most. My man Shmee's going to be covering the AFC, and we'll talk about two of the players we're going to switch around as far as the quarterbacks, okay? So with that being said, just go through the stats. Justin Fields, if you saw what he did, 3 for 3, 129 yards. I call them deceptive stats. Two of the catches were behind the line of scrimmage, and they ran for long touchdowns, which is great. My man Shmee's going to talk about how he thinks that's something that's going on that's helping these quarterbacks and his perspective as far as what he thinks about that. So we're going to look at that. He's going to talk more about it. The Panthers, Bryce Young, rookie, tough start. The offense was horrible. He didn't have any blocking. So hopefully, he will play better based on the offense blocking. I listened to a lot of feedback, and it was all about how horrible the offense was as far as overall, but they did seem to believe that he is the guy and that he is ready. He just needs somebody to block. Cowboys, Dak didn't play. They don't got no black backup, so. Geno Smith, Seattle, didn't play. Not worrying about the backup there. The bright spot in the NFC for me was the Packers, Jordan Love. He was 7 for 10, 46 yards. Not a lot of yards, but he did have a touchdown. So he had a good performance overall. He looked in control of the offense. He made some good throws and decisions. But, it was just 46 yards. So, once again, it's just preseason. He's got a full season ahead of him. The one thing I will say about Jordan Love, and I did read a couple articles, he's following behind two Hall of Famers, right? So it's going to be tough. These people expect him to be that guy. He ain't going to be that guy, okay? So, moving on. With the Giants, we had Tyrod Taylor. He's a backup to the starting quarterback. And unless something happens to that guy, Tyrod probably ain't going to get the field. But I will say this about Tyrod. He is a journeyman. He's been around for a long time, a lot of different teams. So he's getting that respect that he's someone that the teams can trust in and have as a mentor to their starting quarterback. Falcons, Desmond Ridder didn't play. He is in his second year, and he is scheduled to start this week coming up, so we can get a look at him. And the Commanders had Jacoby Brissett. He was 6 for 10, 75 yards at interception. Eagles, Marcus Mariota. He was 7 for 11, 58 yards. Like I said, nothing spectacular about these stats.
That was good against the Ravens defense.
Okay.
That is good. That was the Ravens defense who put those numbers against.
There's a reason why he's saying that, people. You'll find out later. But the Saints had Jameis Winston, 11 for 13, 92 yards and a touchdown. I love to say Jameis plays for both teams. If you understand about point guards, he's like that point guard that gives up 35 defensively but will score only 30. So it's net gain for the offense. So he plays for both teams. That's what I love to say about Jameis. And then the 49ers with Trey Lance, everybody's favorite guy to pick on season right now. He was 10 for 15, 112 yards and a touch. But if you saw that touchdown, it should have been an interception. The Raiders dropped an interception. And then I also posted a link from the show called Speak with the former linebacker Acho. Have the lady Joy used to be on the FS1 show with Colin Cowherd. Then they had Shady McCoy, Sean McCoy, I think Bucky Brooks. They had some real comments about Trey Lance. So we'll get into that more. But anyway, that's just the quarterbacks from the NFC. And then my man Smith's going to cover the AFC. Then we'll have some other things to say.
All right. Thank you, Al Boogie. As I said, I'm going to be covering the AFC here for the NFL black quarterbacks. And we're going to start it off with the C.J. Stroud of the Houston Texans. The one thing I saw in that game, he definitely didn't look ready. The game was moving real fast for him. Just a little insight into what we're doing, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to go insight. We're just going to give you that in depth that a lot of people aren't going to touch on. So he would have had a 3-and-out in his very first NFL series. He picked up the first down because of a roughing the passer. His very next possession, he was sacked for minus 15 yards. As a quarterback, you're going to get sacked, but you can't take a 15-yard sack. That's you running around trying to find something, trying to make a play that ain't there. But hopefully he'll learn how to get rid of the ball. He'll learn he's got to work with those receivers. He doesn't have the all-star receivers he had back in college. So hopefully that will get better. Now, after that 15-yard sack, again, that's going to set you up in a tough situation. So what ends up happening is you get to a 3rd and 21, and C.J. Stroud throws an interception because they know you got to pass the ball. So next series, he gets the ball back after the interception, and immediate 3-and-out again. So a lot to work on. Houston's a young team. I like the coach. I feel like he'll have them ready to play. I think they will be a very competitive team, and C.J. Stroud will make his ups and downs, but at the end of the day, he'll have more ups and downs, in my opinion.
Oh, man, see, that's in-depth. See, I'm just on the surface,
Next up, we have the Dolphins with Tua. Obviously, Tua didn't play. The main thing for Tua is he's going to play 16, 17 games this year. That's the main thing. If he stays there, they're going to be somebody to reckon with. Tua will have a decent, noteworthy season. Next, we come to probably the most interesting situation is with the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, your starter, Deshaun Watson, 1 series, 3 for 3, 12 yards. Again, pick up on these yards because to go back to C.J. Stroud was 2 for 4 for 13 yards. 2 series. Deshaun Watson, 3 for 3, 3 completions, 13 yards. Pick up the trend I'm laying out here, fellas. Then you had Joshua Dobbs, 8 for 16 for 77 yards, 8 completions, 77 yards with an interception. Kellen Mond, 7 for 12, 79 yards. 1 touchdown to boot with that. But the bright spot for the Cleveland Browns is our rookie, DTR. 9 for 10, 102 yards, 1 touchdown, and that's building off of that first Hall of Fame game when he looked amazing there. I'm telling you right now, don't be surprised if somewhere in this year, if Watson doesn't pull out, we may have a quarterback controversy. And the most interesting race right now is that 2nd and 3rd quarterback in Cleveland. Trust me on that. And my vote is DTR.
Dorian Thompson Robinson, people, if you didn't know. We just going to call him DTR. It's too much to say. Taking too much time.
The next one we have here is the Denver Broncos with our man Russell Wilson. Is Russ cooking or is Russ done? What are we doing here with Russ? A lot of it was Sean Payton. Is he going to change things? I'm just saying they came out against a Cardinal offense or defense. They almost got the first 3 possessions that Russ played in inside the 50 and managed 1 touchdown. Russell Wilson, 7 for 13, 93 yards, 1 TD. But he was running for his life. And this is against a Cardinals team that I may say may only win 1 or 2 games this year. And I got a lot more to come on that with the quarterback swap that we talk about. This will be a shock. But that will be interesting to see how that plays out. And that was coming off of a joint practice. And today, the real preseason in today's football is the joint practice. You're going to get more more work in that joint practice, not the actual preseason game. The next we have the Colts with Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson. Good ups and downs. 7 for 12, 67 yards with an interception. Again, as Al Boogie mentioned earlier, there is going to be a trend here, and I'll speak about this a little bit later. But his first pass went for 5 yards to McKenzie. Second pass went for 4 yards to McKenzie. Third pass, sometimes you can go to the well too many times. Another short pass for an interception to McKenzie. These short passes is a trend your guys are going to start seeing here in this NFL. That's what these quarterbacks need to get the ball out quick, get it to your playmakers. But all in all, he struggled as the overall team did. The number one takeaway is he has all the tools. Rushing, I was surprised that only 2 rushing attempts for 7 yards with 12 passing attempts. But the good thing is, I don't think he's necessarily looking to just take off and run. I think he is trying to read the defense. I think he is trying to pass. And I think a little bit of the mid-range passes will come as the season goes with more experience. At this point, he's pretty much already worked himself up to the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts.
Posted a link that says a story about him. Go ahead and mention why not. Who cares?
Next up, we have Malik Willis. Malik Willis had a lot of playing time. Tennessee doesn't have a lot of quarterbacks. Obviously, we know who the starter there is, so he may not get injuries, may get him in there, or just a bad start may get him in there. But he went 16 for 25, 169 yards, and again, that bugaboo interception. Out of 25 pass attempts, 16 completions, he averaged 7.6 yards per game, or 7.6 yards per pass. We got to extend the ball a little more down the field, just a little bit more. But he did have some rushes for 22 yards with the rushing TD. And, you know, he can use his legs, so that lets me know. And I like that he only had 3 rushes with 25 pass attempts. So same thing, same analysis on Anthony Richardson. They looking to throw the ball, not necessarily use their legs. Next up, we have the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, Lamar didn't play. We might see Lamar a little bit this weekend, series or two possibly. But one thing about Lamar coming into practice, there was one day in that Ravens camp against that starting Ravens defense, they had 9 interceptions between these 4 quarterbacks. Tyler Huntley, 8 for 11, 88 yards, 1 TD. Solid numbers, moving the ball. Again, this offense, you're going to see a lot of dinking and dunking, short passes. Get the ball to the playmakers. Josh Johnson, 5 for 12, 45 yards, 1 touchdown. Decent numbers. You like that accuracy to be a little bit better, below 50% completion rate on 5 for 12. And then you had Anthony Brown, 3 for 8, below 50% again, 7 yards, 1 TD. Again, 3 completions, 7 yards passing, 1 interception. So there you have it for the breakdown of the AFC.
That's awesome, bro.
Back to you, Al Boogie.
That's awesome, man. The thing you mentioned about Tennessee, that was the thing I was telling you earlier, with their receivers don't have a lot of yards because they short passes.
Yeah.
This is just something I was watching regarding fantasy football, which I ain't involved in no more. But anyway, a couple other things I wanted to mention. I just want to put it out there as I got a lot of jerseys, right? A lot of black quarterbacks. I got some jerseys with my last name, Herring. A couple players played in the league have my last name, so I bought their jerseys. But one thing I mentioned, back in the day, I was a hardcore Cowboy fan, like crazy stupid. You know, so I cheered for all those quarterbacks they had back in the day. You know, Roger Staubach, Danny White, Tony Romo, Troy Aikman, the only one since Roger Staubach to the promised land. Now Dak Prescott. My reason for mentioning all this, because I stopped being a Cowboy fan years ago. Me and my man first met. He knows me as a Cowboy fan. But he will always treat me as a Cowboy fan. But I'm not a Cowboy fan no more. I don't really care what they do. They just happen to have a black quarterback. But my thing with Dak, and I'm going to get into it as the season goes along, but he was put up in the perfect situation. We all know that. So that's all I'm going to say for right now. But, you know, that's all I'll say. But I'll get into it more regarding the Dak situation. So, another thing I want to talk about is the website. It's going to change. Obviously, we're going to focus primarily on the starters, and all the links that are there now is just going to be about the starters. That's it. No more of this preseason stuff. So we're excited about that. Another thing that I like to talk about with the NFL, I call it the Hype and Hope League, because every week they're going to hype up their team, no matter what team it is, right? They're going to tell you, go watch the game, our guy's going to do it, and all week long you hoping that your guy does it. But at the end of the day, only one team going to win, right? Each week, each game, and only one team going to win the Super Bowl. But they're going to hype it up like your team still got a chance. Come week 8, your team's like 2-7, but they still got it, or week 9, whatever. They still got a chance. And really, they don't, you know? So it just goes on and on and on. So, but we love it, and we root for them. And here, we're going to root for all the black quarterbacks. I wish all the quarterbacks have a great season, but we're going to specifically focus on the black quarterbacks. That's what we do. It's called the Black Quarterback 4. So with that said, my man's got some things he want to talk about. Then we'll close. Like I said, this is just our initial video. We just want to introduce ourselves, let everybody know what we're going to be doing.
Couple tidbits, and we kind of touched on it here earlier. Thanks again, Al. Couple tidbits on it. One thing I want to bring up, and you'll see again, we're going to kind of make some predictions. We're going to kind of say some things. Sometimes we'll be right, sometimes we'll be wrong. Nobody's 100%. My thing is, I think this year you're going to see a large uptick or increase in the quick passes. As Al mentioned, Justin Fields, 2 quick passes, one went for a 50-yard touchdown, one went for a 60-yard touchdown. The ball never crossed the line of scrimmage. So the NFL's onto this too, and I believe, I got to check this. I didn't get all my information in before. I got to check this out. But I believe if the ball doesn't pass the line of scrimmage, that is now being considered a run and not a pass. I feel like that ultimately will help some of these quarterbacks. Case in point, Justin Fields never passed for 2,500 yards. But if you can hit one of those, 2 of those a game, you definitely will be there. But if that's going to count as a rushing attempt and not a pass, could make it interesting. You know, maybe he throws 10 rushing touchdowns and 10 passing touchdowns. You add the 2 together, he might hopefully break that 2,500.
Yeah, that's called a rushing touchdown.
I know it's called a rushing touchdown,
yeah, I'm just
but
saying,
it's starting with the pass. But that's what, you know what I mean?
It's crazy, but
it is. The second thing is another question I have, and feel free to respond in the comments or post anything. Let us know what you think. One thing I've been kicking around this year with the running back controversy. Honestly, has the black mobile quarterback made the running back position devalued? Because if your quarterback is picking up 600-700 yards rushing a season, do you really need that expensive running back? That's just food for thought. We'll touch on that as the season goes and numbers project out, and we'll see how it plays as the contracts get signed for these running backs into the offseason and things of that nature. But just a couple tidbits there that we'll keep track of and post that information as the season moves along.
All right, well, that's it for this one, people. I mean, like I said, it's preseason, ain't a lot to talk about. We'll get into things as it moves along, right? Because it's going to get real interesting, right? When those people start running around and they start taking hits for real. And it's like they ain't got the red shirt on no more. Okay, if you know what I'm talking about, you see preseason. The red shirt, you can't hit the red shirt. Okay, you can't hit down the red shirt. All right, we'll get at you next week, people. This is it.
Go Ravens.